more than 20 years right now, and he's the guy that you want to call if you want a banger or a hit.
Yeah? Okay. But everyone has been trying their luck getting the song right. Flipperachi. Tell us, what does the song mean? What's the inspiration behind the lyrics? How did you begin writing it, putting it together, coming out with the music that's taken internet by storm the way it has?
Yeah, it started in the studio. Outlaw has first produced the beat. He had this idea of putting the sample of the Chennai and and then doing the tabla and all of that, bringing the Indian flavor into it. And he told me like we want to have fun with it, so we were stuck in the studio. He was trying. We were trying to uh, bring up. We were trying to make the chorus first, so it's like dus dus يا أخي خوش فاصلة. So that was the first step. That was the thing that really like kick-started the whole song. And then it was all about, let's see what we can write in the verses. The verses contained a couple of dances that I have created in my mind. But then I had to actually do them in real life. So they had to make sense. So the dances like صبوحة خطبها نصيب and the karak bayag جيب لي كرك ويجيب لي كرك واحد dance, all that, it's a lot of dances. So we wanted to have fun. We wanted to make people have fun with it and groove with it. So that's how it came by. I don't know if DJ Outlaw wants to add something to it.
Yeah. The entire country is having fun on the song. They're enjoying the song so much. Every second person is making reels to the song. Outlaw, tell us a little bit about the beats, the magic you've created there. Flip has given us a hint of how tabla has also been played. That does find a mention in what you've created. What other elements have you used?
So basically for me, I've always been a fan of the Indian culture, the Indian music, the Indian percussion especially. And I've been producing Khaliji fusion with Indian ages before. My signature sound is basically it's a pure hip hop mixed with a different type of culture. Sometimes Moroccan, sometimes Khaliji, sometimes US, sometimes French or whatever. This time around was the Indian fusion to it. I've done the whole thing. And my type of Indian fusion also, it just, when you hear it, the groove of it is not just pure Indian. It has some type of Khaliji groove to it. So it's a quintized thing that we do in the when it comes to production. So when I sent it to Flip, and Flip basically does his thing also. Flip doesn't actually rap just like a regular rapper as well. He uses his voice more like an instrument between my instruments. So and Fasla came out. One thing we didn't expect was India to come and pick it up, and boom.
The beautiful thing is an entire generation, Flip and Outlaw, have grown up watching Akshay Khanna's soulful acting, that side to his acting, and now they're finding out suddenly that he can outswag half of global action cinema with just a walk. And it's happened to your singing and it's happened to your music. Today, the reaction India is giving, how does it make you feel? Did you see it reach where it's reached?
Oh yes, most definitely. My DMs, my Instagram, it's blowing up. I can't keep up with the people trying to make reels and interact with the song. I'm trying to, I'm trying to repost, but I couldn't keep up with the Indian community. Mashallah, it's kind of it's kind of relieving when you see this type of love and support coming from a community that don't understand the language. Thought it's a language barrier, but with music, definitely not. It's an international language that reaches all people's heart, and this is exactly how we imagined the song to be, to have this impact. But with the Indian community, yes, it just went out there. We did not expect that reach, to be honest. But it's We know the formula of the song. We have the formula of a banger. We know that there is a bang that this song will hit, but it just needed the right time, the right celebrity, the right movie, and the right entrance, like they say.
Oh, yes. You've already given us a little bit of a teaser. Everyone watching this is going to be asking us, why are you making us wait? So, can we have a few lyrics already? Can we have a little bit of singing? Give us some Fasla moments here. Recreate that for us.
So it's like دوس دوس يا اخي خوش فصلة يا اخي تفوز تفوز والله خوش رقصة يا اخي دوس دوس عندي خوش فصلة تفوز تفوز والله خوش رقصة عندي لك رقصة قوية يا الحبيب اسمها صبوحة خطبها نصيب مديدك شنو بتعطيها كف وهز كتفك حيل خليك شديد عطني رقصة الفريسة زيد عليها شوي عندي بيزة حق المحتار اللي نعرفه صيدة سوي لي رقصة انا هيبة عيا سوي لي رقصة بياع.
Lovely. Flip, you've given us so many moments. You have no idea how this song is doing on the internet. You possibly do. You've possibly not been able to reply to everyone. But truly, it's been beautiful watching the success of the song and the film as well. Not many understand the song. They're yet glued to it. That's the beauty of it. But the song, actually, the first release took place sometime in 2024, if I'm not wrong. Dhurandhar took it to unimaginable heights.
True. How was
that 1 year journey for you before the song reached where it's reached today because of the film? Did you see that kind of response before the film?
Yes, it was. Fasla had a great impact, and we had numbers clocking on TikTok, like great numbers. But when it reached to India, it had like, poof, it had blasted the threshold. It went viral. It had a lot of love and support. I did not expect this. So to me, seeing this, don't get me wrong, the song had a nice impact, but with the Indian community, they just took it to another level.
Flip, a lot of people are wondering, and this goes for Outlaw as well. There's a story there to your names, a story that not many people are aware of or familiar with. Would both of you want to share it with us? Flip is actually Hussam Asim. So how did you come up with Flipperachi?
I came up. I had a. Busta Rhymes was my favorite artist, a hip hop artist. So he had a group called the Flip Mode Squad. So being as a child, I always wanted to be like a part of his group. So I called myself Flip at first, but then it started like evolving. So then one day DJ Outlaw just called me Flipperachi. Come on, let's continue recording. And then I'm like, okay.
So he's giving you the name.
DJ Outlaw gave me the name. Like he is the one who officiated it. So I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
And how did DJ Outlaw happen?
It was back in high school. I'm a big fan of Tupac and the Outlaws. And I was always hoping that I can be part of that group with Tupac. And then the first time I see the word outlaw, it was tattooed on Tupac's arm. So I basically Googled it and just to understand what it means. And I was like, oh, that's super cool because my music can be outlaw. It has no rules. And that just suits me. So it became DJ Outlaw.
Okay, lovely. Flip Outlaw, how does it feel to be Bollywood's latest obsession? Have you received, let me put it this way, have you received any messages? Are there any DMs as yet of any Indian superstars or hip-hop singers, people congratulating you, personally sending out messages? Do we have stories there?
Of course, there's a lot of people who really got shocked by the whole this wave, and they did not expect that to reach at this this volume. It's a lot of people my DMs be talking about congratulations, bro. My mother she has like staff with her, and they were like congratulating her, like, this is your son, he's blown up in India, since we have a big Indian community here, and so our friends and family and everybody's congratulating us for the song. Like, we just reached like number one, and actually we did reach number one, and that's why it's a big deal for us, especially coming from a community that is, full of love and support.
Okay, have you personally interacted with Akshay Khanna? He's a
No,
big
I
part
wish
of
I
the
could.
song. Have you heard
I
from him?
wish.
Have you guys spoken, interacted, plans on meeting, if any?
Yes, I wish, and there might be some plans, but there's still nothing. It's still vague. But yeah, I would like to, meet him, maybe do the dance with him on TikTok or anything. Just vibe with him a little bit.
And what would your hook step be, Flip? If you were to dance to
Mine.
this, if you were to choreograph this
Oh,
song, we want a little bit of singing and dancing together.
well, it goes something like this. I did something for it at first when it dropped, so it's like. فيا جيب لي واحد كرك يلا فيا لك سيارة بوليس يلا يلا سوي لي رقصة ثانية رقصة البطريق ولا ستة ثمانية.
Wow, lovely. Outlaw, do you
Something
want to
like
add your
that.
two bits to it? Would you want to come up with a hook step of your own?
Oh no, I was there putting the whole thing with him. I'm just
Lovely.
behind the beats. He can do his thing.
You know, this entire song it's like a catchy intruder. It gets inside your brain, it refuses to leave your mind, and everyone's pretending to be an underworld swagger of sorts while walking or moving on this song. Outlaw, did you ever envision this song being played for a gangster making his entry in a film like Dhurandhar?
Actually, it wasn't a gangster in particular, but in my head, I've pictured it when I was producing the whole thing. I did the whole thing before I add in that evilness, that stab type of darkness. And when I heard it, I told Flip, I'm sending you something. It sounds cool, but right now it sounds too happy. Wait till I send you another version where I add some darkness to it, where we can. So the idea wasn't evil, it was more aggressive type of having fun. Like, I'm here, I don't care about anyone, I'm gonna do my thing. And then when I saw it on the movie, and they basically did the whole thing with the Akshay Khanna being the villain, it blended in perfectly, exactly how I envisioned it in my head. I was like, wow, the music supervisor, whoever put that in for that scene, amazing job, amazing job. I actually got goosebumps watching it. It was perfect, the way he came in, he doesn't care, and then all of a sudden I can dance and do my thing and then get back to the villain face. It was amazing. It
So
fit
much
it
so,
in
a lot of people didn't know the name of the song when they first watched the film. So you had to go search Dhurandhar, famous song, and then you had to find your way to the song. And once you found your way, there was no looking back. Uh,
I think it was Ranveer who actually
yeah.
made people reach us and reach Flip. He posted it on his Instagram, and he was like, "This is that track of the movie," and he tagged Flip, and then boom, India went in.
Yeah. Flip, how did the process of this song being a part of the film begin for you? So, who from Team Dhurandhar reached out to you first? What was your response like? Were you a little bit skeptical in the beginning, or were you always in?
No, keep in mind, Bollywood is like the entertainment center. So when they reached out to us, the directors, they were looking for a song that was for that scene. So they wanted something. So they had a couple of tracks in their roster, and they said that this track right here, Fasla, is the one that will bring back Akshay Khanna's entrance into a blast, and it'll explode. So they had a vision, and we went on with that vision, and they were super happy about it. We we collaborated as fast as lightning. We did not waste any time. We're like, look, this is your track. You can do whatever you want with it, and yeah,
And it all makes sense today.
Yeah, it all
It's
makes
all
sense.
worked out so beautifully. Flip,
True.
has Gulf hip hop been introduced to India like this, at this scale ever before?
I don't think any Gulf song has been blasting in India
Yeah.
before. I don't think so, but I think there's one or two for maybe Greeny or one of the guys that I know. But at this rate, this level of of mind blowing level, I don't think so, and it's mind blowing, to be honest. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, and it feels like a dream. So yeah.
And what do you make of the hip hop scene in India? Any rap, any rapping scene that you've seen or closely followed that has stolen your heart? It's taken you by surprise in the past. Are there people that you're going to be collaborating with in the near future? What more can you share with us?
Yes. The hip hop scene is crazy. I've been listening to Hanuman Khan, Badsha, and a couple of Punjabi artists here and there. They just, up to that level, and I always wanted to collaborate with them, seeing myself with them in a song or two. And there might be something major collaboration, but we still trying to get it done and everything. But I'm really interested in making something else for the Indian community. It's worth it, and I'd like to challenge myself. I like challenging myself a lot, and I'll see if I can give something that is worth their while.
People in the Middle East have not had the chance to see the movie as yet, at least some parts. Have you watched the movie?
Too bad it didn't. I think it's gonna be banned here in the Gulf, so I guess I have to come to India to watch it. So
when is that happening? Have you been in India before this, Flip?
Never actually. I've never been to India. I want to come there and eat your good food. I love spices. I love chili. I love, and I want to come and see India. There's a lot of people telling me you have to go to Goa, Bangalore. Get a nice stroll in New Delhi and in Mumbai. So yeah, it should happen soon.
It should happen soon.
I'll let you know, and we might even meet each other and be in your studio.
Looking forward. Outlaw, what about you? Do you have plans to visit India anytime soon? Have you been in India for starts?
I've never been to India. I wanted to come to India even before this track goes viral in India. And keep in mind, I'm not sure Flip didn't mention it, but the track is actually charting in every single viral top 50 in Spotify, viral in India, viral in Canada, top. I'm talking number one in all these playlists. So definitely, I would love to come down to India and basically meet these incredible people that have been lifting us, showing us love and support. There's a lot of talks for an Indian tour soon. Nothing is confirmed, but trust me, 2026 we'll definitely make it to India.
Okay, so much of Indian collaboration has happened here through this film. Have we seen Outlaw and Flip catch on to some Hindi words? Hindi mein baatcheet hui nahi hui.
I'm trying to learn some Indian, but they.
Do we have a few words, Flip? A few words that you can give us.
They taught me.
Namaste, kya halchal? Have people spoken to you?
Namaste is easy. He has something better.
I have something better. They told me, "Ghar ki murki dal barabar."
Who was this?
So they told me this because don't get me wrong, my music, I'm like the hero in Bahrain, but to really go out there to be international, I'm telling you, it has to go there and then come back, and then they'll appreciate you more. So that's the meaning of that Ghar ki murgi dal barabar. So I think I'm gonna do a song about it. You never know.
Really? Do you have something on mind already? Do we have the first draft? Let's go. and maybe Outlaw can give you a little bit of backing here. We'll wrap the conversation on that high note. Come on, let's do this.
It's still floating, but there's nothing in paper. There's nothing recorded yet. But if once it's surely like going for it, we're gonna let you know. Because the process of writing needs to be perfect for me. I'm a picky artist, and I love picking the best and finest beats, and the words should be in line, customized to the beat. I love doing fun songs, but at the same time, I love them with a little bit of messages here and there that really make sense. So yeah.
Okay, we let the both of you go. Before that, we want you to leave us with one message to all those who put this song on loop, and we want you to do it your style. So Flip and Outlaw, come on, let's do it your style. And you know what I mean.
Outlaw, you start first.
Our style, we have no better than Fastline, how people are just carrying it on their backs and doing the thing. I really want to show like a big shout out to the Indian community. They're showering us with love and support. The videos, the covers, and you know, one thing really catched my eyes, and I was so happy to see it. The Indian community actually trying to learn it in Arabic. They're trying to sing it in Arabic. That's really super cool. And make sure you guys post more of these covers, more of these stories, and I'll make sure me and Flip keep reposting, keep shouting you guys out.
Surely, will do. Flip, any last words, hip hop style? How would you say goodbye to us?
I would say that, I love you guys. You've been great. It's been one hell of a ride. I love how a lot of people broke down the song, like a lot of people that went to technicalities of the song, and they broke down the song, and they showed what is the song is all about. I love that, because that shows you how the Indian community is educated in music and entertainment and in technicalities. So that gives me a relief to know that a community and an audience knows the artistic ways of a track. So I would really appreciate everybody doing interacting with the song and doing exactly what they want to do with the song, because it's all about interacting.
And you don't take offense when people get the lyrics wrong, is it?
No, actually, I love it how the people are trying actually with the lyrics. They can do their own lyrics to it, and it'll still sound cool, and that's what's nice about it.
Okay, Flip Outlaw, thank you so much for joining us. All the very best and many congratulations once again. You surely have succeeded in entertaining all of India. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much. It's an honor.
Well, the conversation, the madness around film Dhurandhar doesn't come to an end with that conversation. We head into a very short break. Up next, we talk about the movie that's 3+ hour long, banned, blasted it, but yet a massive blockbuster. We'll talk about another very interesting aspect to the story in just a bit.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
An ongoing political storm over the renaming of the Manrega scheme for the rural jobs. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee said her government will bring a bill in the state cabinet to rename the Karma Shri scheme after Mahatma Gandhi. Speaking at a mini Bengal Global Business Summit conclave at the Banerjee said, "I feel ashamed that they decided to drop Mahatma Gandhi's name from the Manrega scheme. Are we now forgetting even the father of the nation?" Let's listen in.
Father of the nation, Narega program in the name of Gandhiji. Now the bill came, Gandhiji's name won't be there. I cannot blame anybody except me because I belong to this country. So we have started this scheme, Karmosri. This scheme's name will be changed, Mohataji schemes. There also we give 75 days to 100 days job. If you don't give respect to Mahatma Ji, we will give respect. We know how to give respect to Mahatma Ji.
वो तो गलत बात है, वो करने का तो जरूरत नहीं है, क्योंकि ये अब नहीं रखे। वो उस कांग्रेस गवर्नमेंट में स्वतंत्र लाए, गांधी जी से हमारे को आजाद आए, उसका नाम से वो लगाए तो आपको क्या दर्द हो रहे उसको रहे तो वो निकालने का जरूरत क्या है आपको? वो उस कंटिन्यू करे तो आपको क्या जाते, मगर आज वो निकालने का क्यों आपको करना पड़ा?
Very sad day. I mean, I've been very fortunate that Manrega bill and its huge advantage to the rural population of Telangana, I've been a direct eyewitness. It has changed the face of rural India. It created relief and succor to millions and crores of people. I don't know what kind of politics this is, that to change the name and to change the scheme and to make state governments having to give 40% share. They're trying to slowly kill the scheme. I think the NDA government in Delhi is doing a great disservice to the country and the people.
ये सुधार एक बार थोड़ी आए हैं, पहले 4 बार 5 बार इसमें सुधार हर सरकार लेती आई है। उसी तरीके से ये सुधार हो रहे हैं, जब पता चलता है ये हो रहा है, ये हो रहा है, ये हो रहा है, तो इसके लिए ये चीजें हो रही हैं। और बाकी जो शोर मचा रहे हैं वो उनको क्या पता, 100-200 रुपए की दिहाड़ी का, जिसके सिर पे तसला रखा होता है मिट्टी का, उसका क्या पता। वो तो राजकुमार 500 करोड़ 1000 करोड़ चीफ मिनिस्टर पहले ही बिकते हैं, और अब वो यहाँ चल रही है बात मजदूर की 100-200 रुपए की, और वो कहाँ बैठे हैं 5 करोड़ के मोटरसाइकिल पे, 10 करोड़ की गाड़ी में, BMW में। क्या बात करोगे उनकी आप?
The ongoing diplomatic row between India and Bangladesh has now escalated, with India announcing the closure of the Indian Visa Application Centre in Rajshahi and Khulna. A group of protesters marched towards the Indian High Commission in Dhaka's Gulshan area. The protest followed threats against Indian diplomats, prompting India to summon Bangladesh's envoy. Meanwhile, CNN News 18 spoke exclusively to Sheikh Hasina, who slammed Mohammad Yunus of trying to embrace Pakistan while alienating India, and also lauded India's patience. She accused him of steering the country towards instability and seeking political legitimacy through closer engagement with Pakistan. Let's listen in.
There is so much unhappiness in Bangladesh, and together with all this, the Yunus regime, the Jamaat-e-Islami, is whipping up anti-Indianism, because that has been their main focus. They think that whatever you blame Sheikh Hasina, and then you blame it on India, because India supports Sheikh Hasina, all kinds of absolutely illogical kind of statements, and this anti-Indianism, whipping it up to an absolutely unacceptable level, to the extent that when the election campaign started and one candidate from the National Citizens Party was shot, then they started blaming India for that. This is completely wrong. It's completely illegal.
You know, the statement made by Sheikh Hasina's son about the Islamist takeover in Bangladesh, I think it is very appropriate and apt, because regardless of the original reasons why an unrest took place in Bangladesh, I think it has been overtaken by the Islamists right from day one. मैं समझता हूँ ये
Welcome back. Well, Indian cinema is opening its arms to a few old habits lately, one of which is long 3+ hour films. 3 hours is now becoming the norm for star-driven releases, and that has reopened a familiar debate in cinema. Is the audience being given depth or just being asked for more time? More mainstream films are now crossing the 3-hour mark. Long run times are common in big-ticket releases. For theatres, that means fewer shows a day. For viewers, it's a longer commitment. And in star-led films, editing is no longer the strict gatekeeper it had become. But length alone doesn't decide a film's fate. Audiences are willing to sit through long stories when the pacing holds. Engaging films keep attention regardless of duration. Strong second halves justify long run times. Word of mouth still decides whether audiences stay or walk away. Boredom, not length, remains the real deal breaker. In fact, with Dhurandhar, the discussion moved beyond runtime alone. The film triggered reactions from a rattled Pakistan. The film was officially banned in Pakistan. A counter film was also announced in response. A Singh minister publicly called it propaganda out of sheer desperation and embarrassment of Dhurandhar's success. Legal complaints were filed over on-screen imagery, but despite the ban, pirated versions circulated and social media discussions surged, which underlines a larger reality. Cinema today travels faster than regulation. Once a film enters the digital space, it rarely stays contained. Which brings us to the core of the conversation. How much control do filmmakers really have in today's day and age? When does runtime become indulgence? When does cinema stop being just entertainment? To take that conversation forward, allow me to bring in our guest this morning. Joining me first is Anand Mahadevan, director and screenwriter, along with author Advaita Kala. Thank you to the both of you. Good morning. Thank you for being with us here on The Breakfast Club. Advaita, I'll begin with you, ladies first. Let's talk about films like RRR, also Pushpa, KGF 2. We've seen all of them conveniently cross the 3-hour barrier, but this also takes us to epics like Lagan, Sholay, which again fell in the same category. Is it safe to say that long or lengthy films really never went out of fashion?
Well, I think in the past couple of years, the Hindi film industry in particular has been facing a very dry spell. Movies have just not been working. Be there star-led movies, be it time-appropriate movies, none of that has been working. So Dhurandhar's success is really stupendous when you view it in that context. I think secondly also, I don't know if it's so much about star-led films, but I think content-led films really are showing the way now. And it's important that the industry recognizes that. I think the industry has been burdened by a very excessive star system, which has impacted content in many different ways and created a sort of, fatigue in the audience when it comes to this, because these movies inevitably become showcases for stars, their style, their walk, their hairstyle, and all the kind of frivolity associated with it. I think movies like Dhurandhar tell you that content matters, story matters, direction matters. All these things are relative. And the other thing I want to point out also is that this is an ensemble. It's multiple characters, multiple fine actors coming together and doing this film, which again is very interesting to the audience. So I think Dhurandhar has shown the way. Is it a black swan moment? We don't know, because we do live in an attention deficit economy. People do have very low attention spans. So it's going to be a challenge to get a long movie out there.
But nobody struggled with a 3+ hour movie in this case.
Not with this one. Content is king.
And if you really compare it to the OTT phenomena as well, you have people watching an 8-hour series over the weekend. So is attention span really the challenge or the problem?
It is, it's one thing to be in your home and watching OTT and, doing everything else that you need to do. It's quite another. First of all, let's also acknowledge that going to a film itself has become very expensive now. You don't pay anything less than 700 to 800 rupees a ticket, plus the popcorn and all of that. So it's an endeavor. If it's a family of 4, you have to be ready to spend about 4,000 to 5,000 rupees for a movie outing. So it's expensive, one. 2, it's also, on someone else's time, not on your time, which is what you have with the OTT. And we are increasingly becoming a generation that likes things on our time, scale, be it the food. If you want biryani at night, for example, 20 years ago, you couldn't order it at 1 a.m. Today you can. So we have been kind of, I guess, in a sense, conditioned to get things when on demand. And that has also impacted this to a large extent. But I think more importantly, I think there has to be a shift in the industry wherein content is recognized, because OTT, the one thing it's done is that it's exposed people to better acting, to better content, to better, direction, and all of these other things which were put to the side because of the star system.
Okay, so for you, and you've clearly made your point this morning to begin, which is it is content over strategy when it comes to the length of the film. Mr. Mahadevan, what are your thoughts there? And as a filmmaker, more importantly, does a story tell you, when you're deciding on how you're going to go about the film, how long the film is going to be, or how much time is to be given to it, that people, don't feel like leaving the popcorn and walking out of the theatre?
Well, I think Advaita has put it together very well, and she's summarized a lot of points which I wanted to say about, not just the length of a film, but even the quality of a film that matters. But I think this whole discussion and debate about length is a little irrelevant. I need to, I think let's revisit this whole history of length. There was a time in the 60s and 70s and 80s and maybe even the mid 90s when we actually went to a cinema and looked at the censor certificate very carefully, and there was a scream in the audience when it said 19 reels, 20 reels and 21 reels, because it was shot on film in those days, so it wasn't the length, it was the number of reels that mattered. And the lesser the number of reels, I could feel the actual disappointment in the audience at that point of time. I mean, we had a film called Achanak, which Gulzar Saab made, and it was only a 90-minute film, which was probably one of the first Hindi films not to run with an interval, It was a direct start to finish film. But then in those days, we also had films like The Ten Commandments, Ben-Hur, and all these epics, which Cleopatra, which actually went beyond 3.5, almost up to 4 hours. In fact, I remember Ten Commandments had 2 intervals, 2 intermissions. Sangam was the first Indian film to have 2 intermissions. Mera Naam Joker had 2 intermissions, but of course the length there worked against the film, and Mr. Raj Kapoor had to prune it down to about 3 hours or 2.5 hours, because the audience did not take to that length even at that point of time. And so it was pruned down to a 1 intermission film. And we were used to all the Hollywood cinema or the international cinema at the film festivals being run without an interval and being restricted to 90 to 100 to 110 minutes. So it actually depends on what you are trying to say in a film. I unofficially told that the film we are discussing, Dhurandhar, was actually shot for 6 to 7 hours, and then they realized that it wasn't fair to cut down on all the material that was shot, so they decided to make it into 2 parts. So is it a question of miscalculation over there about the length, or is it that they had too much on their hands and they decided to make it into 2-3.5 hour films? So that's a question of debate again. So length, yes, even in films that have content, I have seen a lot of reviews, a lot of critics, a lot of well-meaning people coming up and saying it should have been pacier, it should have been edited down, and a 20 or 30 minute edit would do that film much more good than the kind of length it has. So it's a very debatable thing. We've been used to, but internationally, when I submit my films for international festivals or selections, the minute you cross 100 or 110 minutes, I can see that, a film is not watched in its entirety. I mean, when you give a link, a Vimeo link, you can actually check how much the film was watched, and then probably at the 90th minute or the 100th minute, they have switched off, because that's all they need to see to, decide whether a film is a quality film or worthy of selection. So I would say internationally, although we've had Martin Scorsese and other filmmakers making films that are 3.5 hours, or even now Avatar, Fire and Ash, actually a 3.5 hour film, despite it being a 3D film. So it all depends on the kind of content that you are trying to create for an audience.
The kind of content, also genre, I think plays a role here. And I want to just bring out a few parallels. Advaita can perhaps come in on this, and Mr. Mahadevan, then you can come in and tell us whether you agree or not. Advaita, we've seen themes around national identity, patriotism, resistance. All of these typically end up doing well in this 3-hour format. So from Mughal-e-Azam all the way back to Lagan, to RRR, Dhurandhar to an extent, do you think that is something that the Indian audience really likes? and 3 hours is something that they can keep up with these themes.
I said, please don't say that, because the Hindi film industry loves to latch on to trends. So if that makes sense to someone, then the next 2 years are only going to be films of this sort. So one has to be very careful about identifying the cause. But I think, of course, I mean, every culture, it's a cultural moment, right? Every time a film like this does well, or a Mughal-e-Azam does well, and it is very natural for a mass audience to want to engage with their culture, no doubt. That happens across the world. But I think, there isn't any set formula. I think there's so many elements when you understand filmmaking. It's so collaborative that, on some level, it's a director, for example, he is the storyteller. How does he tell the story? It could be a great story, and this I'm saying as a screenwriter, it could be a great story on paper, and the director could completely butcher it by the time it gets to screen, or the actors could ham it out. So I think there's so many different elements that need to come together to hold the interest. I think that is the biggest challenge today, is to hold interest for that long. Remember, back in the day, there weren't those many avenues of entertainment. Back in the day, people used to go to movie halls because there was continued electricity and air conditioning. These are the realities of our socialist past. So today...
And this is not just a movie that's been liked by viewers, it's a movie that's been debated, it's been blocked as well. It's been blocked as well. In one part of the world, it's been blocked as well. Do you think that amplifies curiosity, Mr. Mahadevan? We need to wrap up, we don't have so much time. Why do you think that's really not worked out for everyone who's tried to block it?
Let me start off by saying that let's not compare Mughal-e-Azam with the kind of films that we are making today on patriotism or nationalism. It's not a trend that I really encourage, because it's virtually coming down to drugging the audience with a kind of cinema that I don't think should be really encouraged in that form. And secondly, you see, I recently made a film called Phule, which was on Savitribai and Jyotibai Phule. And it was on the initial caste system resistance, the first couple of India who actually revolutionized this entire thing against the caste system. And it was a 2.5-hour film. It actually, it sort of deserved a 3-hour narration, because there was so much material with Jyotibai and Savitribai Phule. But I was asked to cut down by the distributors from 2.5 hours to 2 hours 10 minutes. Now, if the distributors are going to decide what the audience is going to like and what they're not going to like, I think that is another trend that we need to sort of, gun down, because we have to give it to the audience and let them decide what they want to do.
You can't have gatekeepers.
Yeah. I mean, they're all, so we are like, as filmmakers, we are at, crossroads as to, we are confused, and we are actually this confusion is created by a lot of people who actually, claim that they are the people who know what the audience wants. Just leave it to the audience. This is a trend that is not advisable, and we rather not continue with this trend. And the kind of films that Mughal-e-Azam and Pakiza and all those kind of films were, they were another, class altogether. I mean, if we really made another Mughal-e-Azam ever in this country, I mean, that would be a miracle.
Okay, it indeed would be a miracle. Thank you so much, Mr. Mahadevan and Advaita, for joining us this morning. That's all the time we have. We will perhaps extend this conversation, talk about the other aspects that have...
We don't have the length for this kind of thing for this program, right? We can't extend this, right?
No, we will surely reconnect, Mr. Mahadevan. There's so much that I've picked up from everything that you've said this morning, so we will definitely get in touch again. Thank you to the both of you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us. Thank you.
All right, keeping up with the world of entertainment, the countdown to Christmas and year-end celebrations, remember, is also on, and the entertainment lineup is completely jam-packed. From big releases in theatres to fresh OTT drops and exciting live shows, there's something for every kind of weekend plan. Kaveri Gupta joins you with Thank God It's Friday. Take a look.
With several new movies dropping this month, there's truly something for everyone. As we inch closer to Christmas and the end of the year, some big ticket releases are lining up to wrap up 2025 with a bang. So here's everything you need to know about what's hitting theatres, OTT and live stages this week. Hello everyone, I'm Kaveri Gupta and you're watching Thank God It's Friday. opened in theatres this week, we have Avatar Fire and Ash. Nitya may have been defeated, but his absence creates an unexpected void for J.K. Netri. 1 year later, they are forced to confront a dangerous new threat. Fierce, aggressive, and unlike anything seen before. Get ready for an epic new chapter in the Avatar saga. And we know some of you might not be in the mood to step out, and that's why we have a list of latest OTT releases. First up is Emily in Paris, streaming on Netflix. Emily is back, and this time she is heading to Rome to run a new agent's gratu office. Between managing workplace drama and navigating her budding romance with Marcello, Emily's life is as chaotic and fashionable as ever. Next is Mrs. Deshpande on Jio Hotstar. Madhuri Dixit steps into a chilling new role as Mrs. Deshpande, a serial killer who spent 25 years behind bars. When a new murder case eerily mirrors her old crimes, the police turn to her for help, setting the stage for a gripping psychological thriller. And next we have Raat Akeli Hai on Netflix again. Follows small town cop Jatil Yadav as he investigates the suspicious death of a newly married landlord, uncovering the dark secrets along the way. But if upbeat is your vibe, let us take you to the ground. Ahmedabad, get ready for a musical feast. Step into symphony of color, emotions and pure magic as Sonu Nigam performs this Sunday, December 21 from 7 p.m. onwards. And that's not all, it's a double treat as Lucky Ali brings his India tour to Ahmedabad tomorrow. Experience timeless melodies live on stage. And Kolkata, we have got you covered too. Get ready for an unforgettable day as AP Dillon returns with his one-of-one India tour happening this Sunday again. Well, that's all the time we have today. Have a fantastic weekend. Soak in the festive vibes and enjoy because New Year's is just round the corner. Catch you next time with more big screen buzz, OTT goodies and the hottest events around. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
And now moving on to the world of auto, the Yamaha XSR 155 has arrived in India, but has it been worth it? In this Overdrive review, we look at its design, its performance, everyday utility and how it fits into today's neo-retro segment. Here's the Overdrive verdict, take a look.
When Yamaha finally confirmed the XSR 155 for India, the reaction was equal parts excitement and exasperation. Excitement because this is the very bike enthusiasts have been eyeing since it lit up the Asian markets. Exasperation because it took half a decade, and in the interim, Yamaha gave us the FZX as our retro offering. Meanwhile, that lovely 155cc VVA motor and that Delta box frame were screaming away happily under the Yamaha MT-15 and the R15. But now that the real deal is finally here, priced at about 1.8 lakh rupees on road, the question is quite simple. Was the wait really worth it? Because the good news is that this really is the proper XSR 155, not a watered down India special. But the awkward bit is the market has moved on, not just to the mild hybrids from Hero and Yamaha, but also to the neo-retro 350s and the 400s, which by the way did not enjoy any of those GST reforms. Back to this Yamaha though, in the flesh and away from the studio lights, the XSR 155 looks like what the FZX always pretended to be, a compact, nicely proportioned, old-school roadster. It looks like a proper member of Yamaha's sport heritage family. The proportions are clean, the design is honest, and the details feel deliberate rather than decorative. The round LED headlamp looks retro, but doesn't have a great throw and spread, so aux lights are a must. The contrasting panel on the tank, the ribbed seat, the sculpted panels all around, the 17-inch alloys, they all create a simple yet classy silhouette that could make this motorcycle easily pass as a scaled-down XSR 900. Too bad they don't make it in yellow, but you can always swap the panels, wrap them, paint them, even swap out these bolt-on lights, indicators, whatever you want. It provides a nice canvas if you want to try out some custom works. Nothing is radically new, but it all hangs together in a way that suits the bike's scale. The tank doesn't dwarf the engine, the tail doesn't look like it was awkwardly cut off in a hurry, the stance is neutral. It doesn't feel like the motorcycle is trying to be a scrambler, a cafe racer, an adventure bike, all at the same time, which makes this design quite tidy. Fit and finish live up to Yamaha's usual 150-160cc standards. Crisp switchgear, tightly finished panels and neat welds on the Delta box frame. The digital single-pod dash looks period correct enough while still giving you the usual trip, gear position and fuel economy readouts. Compared to the FZX, the difference in design maturity is stark. The FZSX 4 bash plate, bulky plastic tank shrouds and the tiara-like instrument panel give it a slightly costume party kind of vibe. Both these bikes run a neo-retro brief on paper, but the XSR looks like it was actually designed by someone who owns old motorcycles. Now there are a few India-specific visual compromises like that big sari guard, that massive rear flap that holds the registration plate. It all looks massive, but the bike itself doesn't look that massive. It looks much smaller in the flesh compared to what you would see in the photos or the videos. So if you are looking for the stance of a Hunter 350, the road presence of a Royal Enfield, this is not a mini Royal Enfield. This is a 155 at the end of the day. Yamaha hasn't reinvented anything here, which is excellent news. The XSR uses the same 155cc liquid-cooled 4-valve VVA single from the R15 and the MT15, and that gives it an immediate edge. Strong and smooth power delivery, a lively mid-range, a top end that genuinely rewards revving, a light, crisp 6-speed gearbox which feels easy in the city and fun while sport riding. And you get ABS and traction control too, similar to the R15. Yamaha has kept the engine tuning similar to that of the R15, which means all the punch is in the mid and the top end. The result is that compared to the MT15, the retro package has the engine feeling slightly relaxed, while the more upright ergonomics and flatter seat encourage calmer riding, almost tricking you into short shifting.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
The ongoing diplomatic row between India and Bangladesh is now escalated, with India announcing closure of the Indian visa application center in Rajshahi and Khulna. A group of protesters marched towards the Indian High Commission in Dhaka's Gulshan area. The protest followed threats against Indian diplomats, prompting India to summon Bangladesh's envoy. Have a look. Meanwhile, CNN News 18 spoke exclusively to Sheikh Hasina, who slammed Muhammad Yunus of trying to embrace Pakistan while alienating India, and also lauded India's patience. She accused him of steering the country toward instability and seeking political legitimacy through closer engagement with Pakistan. So we have breaking news coming in from Dhaka. Bangladesh Daily Star newspaper building was attacked in Dhaka following death of Sharif Usman Hadi, a prominent leader of the July uprising and a spokesperson of the Inqilab Manch, who was shot last week. Protests erupted in Dhaka as soon as the news of his death came out. So we have CNN News 18's Siddhant Mishra joining us live right now. Siddhant, good morning and thank you for joining us on the broadcast. Now, what specific indicators has the committee identified to conclude that, so India released this statement saying that China's footprint in Bangladesh is also expanding in strategic terms. So in connection to this, what specific indicators do you think has the committee identified to come to that conclusion?
Well, yes, that's right. In fact, yesterday, Usman Hadi, one of the protesters of the July uprising, died after he was attacked by unknown men on Friday. He was being treated in Singapore, and right after the news of his demise, it was announced, immediately there was a massive gathering around the Dhaka University area and some other areas also in Dhaka. People came to streets and started protesting. In fact, and started protesting as their and their demand is that the arrest the killers of Usman Hadi should get arrested, and in fact they also targeted the office of the Daily Star, Pratham, two of the leading media houses headquarters in Bangladesh. In fact, there was also massive protest outside Indian Assistant High Commission in Chattogram. There are also reports of arson and violence at various places in Bangladesh. So, definitely a very tense situation in Dhaka, particularly because there are a lot of groups, student groups, which have given a call for a march protest. And it's definitely going to be a tense Friday in Dhaka.
Right. So then coming back to the visa service suspension, what specific intelligence inputs led to the suspension of visa services? Has India formally raised the issue with the Bangladesh government at the diplomatic level?
Well, the visa services were shut because of the security reasons. In fact, day before yesterday, there was a massive violent protest outside the Indian High Commission, 1 kilometer away from the Indian High Commission. Police did not let the protesters.
For 20 years, we've been at it through power shifts and wars, financial upheavals, and inspiring triumphs. India lifts the World Cup. We were the constant in a whirlpool of change. For 20 years, we worked with one guiding philosophy to chase the truth, to make sense. Celebrating 20 years of CNN News 18 makes sense.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
The ongoing diplomatic row between India and Bangladesh is now escalated, with India announcing closure of the Indian visa application center in Rajshahi and Khulna. A group of protesters marched towards the Indian High Commission in Dhaka's Gulshan area. The protest followed threats against Indian diplomats, prompting India to summon Bangladesh's envoy. Have a look. Meanwhile, CNN News 18 spoke exclusively to Sheikh Hasina, who slammed Muhammad Yunus of trying to embrace Pakistan while alienating India, and also lauded India's patience. She accused him of steering the country toward instability and seeking political legitimacy through closer engagement with Pakistan. So we have breaking news coming in from Dhaka. Bangladesh Daily Star newspaper building was attacked in Dhaka following death of Sharif Usman Hadi, a prominent leader of the July uprising and a spokesperson of the Inqilab Manch, who was shot last week. Protests erupted in Dhaka as soon as the news of his death came out. So we have CNN News 18's Siddhant Mishra joining us live right now. Siddhant, good morning and thank you for joining us on the broadcast. Now, what specific indicators has the committee identified to conclude that, so India released this statement saying that China's footprint in Bangladesh is also